Hi, everybody. So, we are here to talk about the latest episode of Doctor Who. And we're sorry, we're a little bit later in the week for this recap. Just busy time. This episode is called The Eaters of Light. And this is the 10th episode of the 10th season. And my friend Jonathan is here to talk about it with me.
Hello.
And Jonathan is much more well-versed in Doctor Who than me. This is my first season actually watching it. So we kind of have the different perspectives. And this episode was, I think, an interesting episode. Like, on one hand, I found it not really sticking with me the way that, like, some of the episodes did. I kind of sort of was like, oh, what was that episode? And to get ready for this today, kind of already sort of forgotten about it. But it had some interesting ideas, I think. What about you? What do you think about it?
I really liked it, but that's probably because it had a really cool monster, and the ones that have a really cool monster are usually the ones that are my favorites. I feel like I know we're not doing the whole rating thing, but I was thinking about that when I watched it. I was like, I probably wouldn't rate it as high as I've rated some of the others. But like, I rated the first episode of the Monk trilogy. I think I gave that like a 9, but in hindsight, my rating's probably going to go down because the second 2 episodes kind of
Well, I was
for
thinking
me.
that might actually be fun at the end to do like a ranking podcast where we
Oh yeah, that's a
rank.
good idea.
That'd be kind of fun. The episodes. But yeah, I think that is true. Some of them kind of stick with you. Some of them, you kind of like more at the beginning, but then you sort of forget about them. And others like
And this one did have sort of elements that are like slightly forgettable, but I still think it was really great. And I really liked the monster.
Oh, cool. Okay. So basically, this episode starts out. You see these little kids at Easter Island with this like the Stonehenge thing.
I think it was in Scotland, not Easter Island.
Oh, sorry. It looked like Easter Island. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. It's you're right, in Scotland. Okay, so yeah, it looked kind of like Easter Island, though. Sort of looked like Stonehenge kind of thing. And it's Transformers has clouded my brain because there's a Easter Island segment in Transformers. All right, so there's this Roman soldier and that Bill meets, and the soldier thinks that Bill is speaking Latin. And it turns out he's this Roman soldier, and it turns out he's a part of this. It's called the
I think it's the Ninth Legion.
Yeah, the Ninth Legion, and they're like living underground.
I think that these soldiers. I think this was partly based on an actual true story. I think there was a historical. Something happened in history where this Ninth Legion of Roman soldiers was just disappeared, and it was. I think the big hypothesis about them is that they were destroyed by this clan of Picts, which were these barbarians that were in the episode too. So this is one of those things where Doctor Who is trying to take a historical mystery and then answer the mystery with science fiction. They've done this in the past with other episodes, which you'll find out later when you're watching the show. But
that's cool. See, I didn't even know that, but
yeah, it's one of those things where it really happened, but it didn't happen this way.
Yeah, and obviously we shoot monsters and stuff, but that's cool that they did that, and I liked how they had these different groups, and this was kind of similar in a way, I think, to the episode on Mars in a way, because you had these two different cultures kind of clashing, and the Doctor kind of being in
Hmm.
between, don't you think?
I I think that's sort of a recurring theme in Doctor Who, where you have two cultures that clash. It's not usually two human cultures. It's usually like a human and alien culture or two alien cultures.
Okay.
But it's one of those things where Doctor Who does it semi often, but they always do it differently. So in the moment, I really didn't think of it as something that Doctor Who had done before, but it is sort of like a recurring theme. Two cultures trying to learn each other's perspectives.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so the soldiers are hiding out from a light-eating locust, and this is the creature that you really liked. And it sort of almost looked sort of like an octopus, kind of. I don't know. How would
Well,
you describe it?
it looked like a cross between a wolf and a dragon with tentacles coming out of its mouth. It
That's
was
good.
really hard to see because a lot of the episode was really dark, which I think is what partially contributed to how much is so memorable about it, because it was hard to see a lot of it.
That's
And the
true.
monster was one of those things where when I could see it, I really liked it, but a lot of times it was hidden in the dark, which probably was due to like budgetary constraints because Doctor Who doesn't have like a huge movie production budget. But I when I could see it, I really liked it. I just wish I could have seen it a little bit more.
Yeah,
It's
and they cut away from it quite a bit. Like
yeah.
you didn't really have a lot of time to like really sort of look at it the way you did some of the other monsters that we've seen
Hmm.
and some of the other things.
When
Which I don't know. In a way, I'm glad if they didn't have the effects. You know, if like it wasn't there, then I'm glad they didn't Power Ranger it. You know, like they kind of did
usually
on the Mars episode a little bit. Like it was a little almost too much.
the more CGI an episode has, in which the monsters are usually CGI, the
Hmm.
less you're going to see of the CGI elements
Yeah.
because they don't have a huge budget.
Right.
So that's why it was cut away from so much because they can't really afford to have spend the money on people animating it for the whole episode, which I understand.
Sure.
I wish they had more budget, I guess, so we could see more of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the doctor and Nardole are there, and they discover all these bodies and come across this Scottish group that are guarding this like gate, kind of this
It's
and
it's an interdimensional rift, which is
okay,
something that Doctor Who has explored before in different episodes in different ways. A rift is basically, I guess it would be similar to a wormhole. It's sort of a tear in the fabric of time and space where it's sort of a portal to another world or another dimension or another part of the universe, which they usually do another part of the universe because there's not really, they've explored other dimensions and universes before, but they've established that there's not really any way to get between them without help from the Time Lords. So this is probably just a portal to another planet.
because they like put yeah. So there's the gate, and they like put a knife to Nardole when the doctors threaten to go in the gate, and the times are different in when you go through the gate,
Mm-hmm.
and
Sort of like
so
Chronicles of Narnia, where things happen at different rates of time. Like he was gone for
right,
2 seconds, and he came out, and he'd been gone for 2 days.
right, 2 days. Yeah, and the lady, her name is the general or whatever. Her name is Carr,
Hmm.
and says that once a generation, a warrior of their tribe goes through the gate to defeat an eater of light. But with the invading Roman army, she allowed one to escape to fight them, and so uh, that's kind of their tradition, is to allow like one soldier, I guess, to go through the gate. And so you've got the Romans, and you have the Scots, and you have the Doctor, and you have the Gate, and I don't know. What do you think of all of this? Did you like that?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was different than it was a lot different than a lot of the other stuff we've seen so far this season. I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was really creative.
Yeah.
I liked how they had it really a historical basis for the episode, but they still had a really cool alien element. And a lot of times, I feel like when they do the historical episodes, that I don't always feel like they're the coolest episodes, but I really enjoyed this one. The
Yeah.
historical episodes aren't generally some of my favorites. I mean, it's
Mm.
sort of 50-50, I guess. Some of them are good, some of them are just kind of boring to me. But I really liked this one. And I thought
Yeah.
the rift was a cool idea. And I thought how they tied in the whole mystery of the missing legion was great.
Yeah. That was good. I'm trying to think. Yeah. So the Legion, they went off to try to find the. I'm trying to remember what all my details. What was that missing Legion? And can you
I
just?
I don't know that they ever specifically said. I kind of just assumed that they were either invading or they came to fight the barbarians, which were these Picts,
Okay.
the
Yeah, that's right.
the indigenous people of Scotland, I guess.
Mm. So yeah, so then like they end up uh uniting. And one thing I wondered about is the companion usually granted kind of as much sort of autonomy and power as she has been this season? Like Bill has been forced to make quite a few choices. She's the one that is responsible for making all the choices during the whole monk thing. She's the one responsible for making the choice on when they're in the uh when they are on the spaceship episode. She, I don't know, quite a few episodes. She's the one that's been sort of the one that's had to make sort of the moral choice. She's the one that's had to be kind of and here you have her with the whole for like half the episode, the one who's kind of leading and interacting with these soldiers. And I just feel like it's been pretty consistent. Would you agree, or what do you think?
Yeah, and I think that's something that has been done. I don't know if it's been done to this high of a degree before, but the doctor a lot of times will have his companion sort of lead the charge in specific cases, especially if it's something to do with humans or if he's trying to teach them a lesson. And I don't think that was something that had been done in the old series. It was basically the companion was there as sort of an audience surrogate to ask questions and to be rescued rather than to have them actually, I don't know, make choices, lead the episode. So I think that's something that's more of for the new series to give the companion a bigger role in the story.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like particularly. I mean, I don't mean compared to. It's just something I noticed that it's not just like a Batman and Robin kind of thing.
Yeah.
That there's definitely more of a shared experience, which I like.
Mhm.
So the I did think it was also kind of a funny moment when she's like to the Romans. She's like, "Yeah, I'm not really into. I'm not really into you guys. That's cool, Like, and then the Romans are like, "Oh, like so and so."
Yeah,
That was
that
funny.
was kind of an amusing exchange.
I like that.
It
That was
didn't go
good.
how I thought it would, but I guess,
It was actually, I think, somewhat common during that
yeah.
the Romans.
I thought about it after I watched the episode and I realized I guess that probably would have been more common for their culture.
Yeah.
So
So,
I was kind of confused by their reaction at first until I thought about it after the episode.
like, I think if it had been the same thing with the Scottish group, that probably wouldn't have been the same
Probably, yeah.
response. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was funny. All right. So let's see here. I did think that Nardole was very annoying in this episode. Like, I'm just like, oh my
I liked
gosh.
him. I
You
thought he was
liked
funny.
you liked it. I was like, stop screaming. I don't know. I wasn't into it.
Part of that's probably just because I like Matt Lucas, so he's I guess he's probably not going to annoy me as easily because I think he's funny to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. All right. So yeah, so they end up uniting the doctor and Bill with these groups, and they decide to kind of combine together, I guess, to try to defeat this creature that they have. And there's also this whole thing with like sun, because the creature is like drawn to the light.
Yeah, I I think that I wasn't completely sure, but it sounded like the creature was like I don't know, absorbing light, and if it stayed on Earth too long, eventually it would absorb all the light that was reaching Earth, so Earth would
Okay.
eventually die. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think they explained it quite as well as they could have, but it also could have been that they really just didn't know because I mean none of them actually have met this creature before. They're not going to know everything about its biology. It could have been just like a guess, and that's why it wasn't
Yeah.
explained well because they didn't really know themselves.
Yeah, because they're trying to sort of lure the creature back into this portal, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because that was
And
the best way to get rid of it was to throw it back through the rift where it came from because there's nothing you can do with it on Earth anyway. So
mhm. So the doctor, yeah, he says that we'll kill the creature with light, and the doctor is about to go into the portal, and then because he says, I've got all these uh, qualities, as a time lord, that I could do it, and then like Bill is not a fan of this idea. And one of the Scottish girls, this car, she jumps in first, and ends up to going to stop this creature.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if they're going to have all these people that have gone into the rift. I wonder if they'll show up at a later date because time passes so completely differently there. They could be there for like a few days, and maybe it's now the 21st century because of the way time passes. So I'm wondering if they're gonna, I don't know, emerge victorious at some point in the future, having finally defeated all of the creatures that are coming through the rift. I don't know. I think it would be a cool idea if they came back.
Hmm. Yeah, that could be cool. That could be cool. It just feels like not memorable enough of an episode, though. I feel like almost everyone would have to be like looking into their wiki and be like, "Who the heck is this person?" They'd have to do it right away, because otherwise you'd forget it, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Maybe.
I liked the character. I mean I liked
Oh, I
Carl.
did too, but I
I
don't
don't
know.
remember much of the other ones, but
I just feel like if it was next season and we had like a whole year that we'd forgotten who they are. But I guess there are those kind of callbacks in Doctor Who,
hmm
so it could be that.
well, I
That would be.
mean like the last episode with the I don't know what the alien was.
Oh, those
The
Ice
alien
Warriors.
the one that they called the one with the big eye in their video phone thing. That one was from decades and decades ago, and that was a callback. And that thing had only been in 2 episodes before. So if they
Yeah,
can do it there, they, they could do it with Carr and the other warrior.
yeah, yeah. It's true. It's true. The um let's see here. Yeah, and and they end up creating this like monument to honor Carr's memory. There's I don't even remember this, but I'm just reading it here that they teach the crows to say her name. I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah,
Har,
I
har,
did.
har.
Yeah, that was supposed to be. I don't know if that was supposed to be funny or what. I didn't really understand why they did that because they had the whole thing with, oh, the crows can actually talk. Like the crows could say like one or two syllable words, but I don't know. They're trying to explain why crows say "caw." Now they're remembering car. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if that was supposed to be like a joke or if that was supposed to be like a touching moment. I didn't
Right.
really understand the exact purpose of that, but okay, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So then at the end we get uh, Missy in the TARDIS,
Mm-hmm.
and they have this music, and she starts to cry, and he says, "Should we become? Should he says something like, should we become friends again?" And he says, "That's the trouble with hope. It's hard to resist." She says, "That's the trouble with hope. It's hard to resist." And
Mm-hmm.
or he says, I can't remember. But anyway, and so, what did you think about that with
I
Missy?
really liked that scene. I'm Missy is such a great character. Part of me really wants her to be telling the truth. Part of me really wants her to be actually turning good because I just love that character so much.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I love her as a villain.
Yeah.
And I don't know if would it ruin her character if she became good. And I don't think she's becoming good. I think this is all a huge elaborate act to fool the doctor, especially because I know a couple of things that are coming in the last two episodes, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be her being evil. I don't think that all this is going to happen with her being good. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm torn because I love redemption stories and I want her to be good, but at the same time I love her as a bad guy. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll
I
see.
could see I could see it going both ways, but I feel like, in my limited knowledge, there's not that many like real like baddies that are like you have these one episode ones, but I feel like uh, it would be, I don't know, a shame in a way if she's if she did become good, but
Hmm. Yeah,
but I
'cause-
could see that with good writing that it could work quite well, because she is
yeah,
great. I love the actress; she's very good, and they
yeah.
do have great chemistry together, the two of them.
She's one of the best things about all of Peter Capaldi's time is her as the master. Because I mean, I liked John Sim as the master. He was great too. But if I had to pick a favorite, I think I'd go with Missy because she's just so insane and so great.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd probably feel differently if I went back and watched John Sim's episodes because he was really great in the moment too.
yeah.
I don't know, they were both great, but I love Missy.
Yeah. She's great. Really, really agree. I don't know, I'm being compared to, but I really have enjoyed her, and I really liked their chemistry. At first, I was like, this seems like a big mistake to reveal that she's in the vault so early. That
Hmm.
seemed very, very early, but I'm glad they did. It's worked out well.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the fact that they're kind of teasing her becoming good, and that's the mystery. Is she good or is she evil? Is she playing the doctor or is this for real?
Hmm.
And I don't know. I like thinking about it because I don't know. I want her to be good, but I don't want her to be good at the same time.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I could see. I kind of want her to be evil, but I hope. Oh man, I hope that Stephen Moffat doesn't do with the Master what they did with Moriarty in Sherlock. I hope that they don't try to like cliffhanger and I'll be so annoyed. Like I hope it's a finished story, a satisfying story, as far as the end of the season. That they don't try to do this big like, but I wouldn't put it past him. That's for sure.
Well, Stephen Moffat, so.
Yeah. So one interesting thing about this episode is that the writer, her name is Rona Munro. She is a classic Doctor Who writer. She wrote for the seventh in the original series, the seventh Doctor, and then also in season 26 and some other things. So I don't know. That's a
she's from what I read, she's the only writer who wrote for the classic series who is also written now for the new series. None of the other writers from the past have come back. She's the first.
That seems amazing.
I know.
We're on season 10.
Mm-hmm.
You think that there would be
that? And it could be that a lot of them have died too, because it is an older series. When the episode she wrote was like the series finale. It was one that it was called Survival. And it's actually one that I remember watching years ago. I mean, I didn't watch it when it first aired, of course, but like late 90s, early 2000s when I was a teenager, watching it on PBS, I distinctly remember those episodes because and it was one of those things where I was wondering if part of the new series was sort of a callback to that, because the alien race, that the planet they were on was, I don't remember the planet's name, but all the people were called the cheetah people because they were like cheetahs that were people. And then there was cat aliens in the new series. So I was wondering if it was supposed to be like a connected thing, like if it was supposed to be a similar race. But I remember her episodes. I mean, I didn't know that she was, back then I didn't know who wrote them. I just remembered the cheetah people, and I remembered it being the last episodes.
Yeah, actually, I read it wrong. It says she previously wrote the seventh Doctor story, Survival, the final serial of both season 26 and the original classic series. So you're right. She wrote this episode, excuse me, episode Survival, that was the final episode of the whole series, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember watching it, and then years later going back and reading about it. And when I watched it, I didn't realize that it was the last episode ever. It's because it was kind of a weird episode to be the last episode ever, but I don't think they'd planned for it. I think it was just one of those things where it got canceled. And because it didn't really feel like a series finale.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, maybe they didn't even know that it was going to be the end. Who knows? That happens all the time.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens. I've had too many shows that I have been watching that get canceled, and you end up with a bad ending. I don't think that it had a bad ending because, like, they usually ended like they're in serials, so it'd be like 3 to 5 episodes that are all parts of the whole. So they usually have the last episode end well, not cliffhangery. So it ended well. It just didn't feel like, I don't know, a series end spectacular, you know?
Yeah. You'd expect something that's gone up for 26 seasons to have a pretty epic finale.
Yeah, I don't think they planned for it to be the end. And this is just me trying to remember what I've read about it, but I think they maybe shot a very brief ending to give it a little bit of closure. Like the Doctor had sort of a monologue as they walked away about, I don't know, time going on. Because I remember him saying something about somewhere it's time for tea. And that was like one of the last lines of the episode and the series. I think they might have shot it after the fact when they found out they were going to be canceled.
Okay.
That would be a fun one to go and rewatch.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be really, really interesting to see. So yeah, so that's this episode. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I do feel like it is kind of forgettable. In preparing for this podcast, I kind of had to read over my notes and read over because I was like, what happened? I can't even remember. And I kept thinking, oh, was it the Martian stuff? And I'm like, no, that was last week, not this week. What was this week?
I think part of that has to do with the fact that so much of it was in the dark and there was a lot of dialogue. The
Yeah,
more dialogue heavy an episode is, the more forgettable it is. And the
yeah,
darker an episode is, the more forgettable it is. I think if they
yeah,
had better lit scenes, like just more light, but it was underground, so I mean, what can you do? But
yeah,
the monster made it more memorable for me. Just I love the monster.
yeah. It was pretty fun. I did like that monster pretty good. And I do like this whenever they have these cultures clashing, and I always think that's kind of interesting. So yeah, out of like 1 to 10, where would you rate? How would you rate this one?
I would probably give it an 8
Oh,
because I was
wow,
think I want to rate it higher because I liked it so much better than a lot of the ones we've gotten recently.
interesting. Okay, I'd give it like a 6.5 for me.
Okay.
I liked it. It's more than a 5. Like it's a positive rating, but for me, I just can't give it as high as some. I've given some 7 that I liked definitely more than this. So I give it 6.5. But yeah, it was entertaining.
If we go back and do like an episode where we talk about different ratings, like if the ratings have changed, it might go a little lower.
Hmm.
But I mean, I just watched it last night and I really like the monsters, so
Yeah.
I'm giving it an 8.
Cool. Sounds good. So yeah, we have 2 episodes left, correct?
Yes, then it's a two-parter, so be prepared for an epic cliffhanger at the end of the next episode.
Oh, that'll be interesting. So yeah, so we'll have next week and then the week after will be our last 2 episodes. Then if we do that, maybe we'll do that ranking one. But and then so that should be fun, and we'll get to see. Do you have any? We already talked a little bit about whether Missy will be evil or good. Do you have any other speculations for the finale?
I don't know. Everything is so up in the air. I know the villains that are coming back, but I don't really know. They're different than the ones that I've seen in the past. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
really know how it's going to be different. Because I know we've in the past there's been the Cybermen, which I guess I can explain this now. The Cybermen are they're they look like robots, but they used to be people. So they've decided that they want to be upgraded or they weren't given a choice. And they had their emotions removed and they were encased in a metal exoskeleton. And they basically become emotionless robots just so they can live forever because human bodies wear out, so they're given these new bodies to inhabit. But the ones that are coming in the next episode are a completely different race. They're from a completely different planet. The ones that have been in the new series of Doctor Who before were from an alternate Earth, like an Earth in an alternate dimension. Because I mean, it's too much to explain here, but they got through to another dimension even though they're not supposed to be able to, and they found these other people who decided they were going to become Cybermen, and then they started converting unwilling people. Anyways,
Okay, then they're
so
coming back
yes, but
for the
it's
finale.
but it's Cybermen from a different planet.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's the same thing happened on a different planet. I'm not completely sure, but these are Cybermen from the old series. There was a planet called Mondas in the old series, which I have not seen this episode. I just have seen pictures of them. They're
Okay.
they're really weird looking. And I remember Peter Capaldi saying that he wanted them to come back before they were even announced to be coming back because he said they scared him so much as a little kid.
Hmm.
Because they still have human hands, even though most of them are robots. And he said there was something about that was just terrifying to him as a child, and he really wanted to bring them back. So these Cybermen from a different planet who have a different backstory are coming to Earth. Apparently, I don't know. I just have heard that they're coming back somehow, and also I don't know. I don't want to give too much away if somebody doesn't want spoilers, but there's
It's just
another.
speculation. None of us know for sure, but
Yeah, there's more. There's another bad guy coming that may or may not be behind all this. I don't know.
interesting. Okay. Yeah. And so you don't think that we'll have any of the regeneration or the new Doctor at all in
I
this
have
finale?
no idea because the episode is called The Doctor Falls. The very final episode is called The Doctor Falls. And I don't know if that means he's going to get hurt and regenerate or what.
Hmm.
Because I heard he was supposed to regenerate in the Christmas special at the end of the year. So I really don't. I have no idea what's going to happen in the season finale.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what makes it fun. So
That's probably by their design. They want people to tune in to find out. I'm glad that it hasn't leaked because I I would rather be surprised. I'm kind of hoping that he does regenerate, sort of, in the final episode, because I would love for them to have him regenerate with no word of who he's going to be regenerating into having leaked. Because most of the time in the past they've done like a huge announcement, like
mhm.
they'll say they'll book the new Doctor on like a late night talk show, and then they'll announce it as the new Doctor will be announced on this show at this time on this day. So
Mhm.
everybody knows who he's going to be regenerating into before it actually happens. Which, I mean, I guess it's cool that they have this huge production out of it, but it would be fun to be really surprised sometime.
I was going to say that's not very Stephen Moffatish. I'm surprised he would let that go.
Well, yeah, I don't know,
Maybe it's
because
a BBC thing. They like to do it that way. Yeah,
it
that's
could be.
interesting that they didn't do it this time. So it makes me think that it must be something pretty, pretty surprising. Because if it was just sort of like a normal English guy, like why wouldn't they have him on the talk shows? It's like if it was just sort of, but there must be something kind of like, whoa, this is different about it, right?
If it doesn't happen, if he doesn't regenerate in the season finale after the next two episodes, they'll probably still do the whole talk show thing because it is quite a while to wait till Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to keep it in the public eye.
Right.
But I don't know. We'll see. I've I have no idea what they're planning.
It's going to be interesting. All right. Well, I think we covered it pretty good. I look forward to the two-part finale. That'll be a lot of fun. And so, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter, John J North, JONJ North, like the direction, and I have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. And I'll have links to all that down in the description section. And you can find me at Smiling LDS Girl on all social media and my blog, 54 Disney Reviews. I just posted my review of Cars 3 on my blog, and I'm pretty proud of it. I really felt like it was not to brag, but I felt like it was some of my better writing. So I was proud of it. So I'm excited about that. And I have tomorrow, I'm really excited. We are doing another bracket tournament. I've been doing it on my Twitter, Superhero Showdown. And we're actually going to get together, me and three of my friends, going to get together and we're going to hash it out and do our own bracket. So it should be fun. It's tomorrow.
That'll be cool.
We'll post that. So something to look forward to. And yeah, so thanks so much for joining me talk about the Eaters of Light.
I had a lot of fun. I like this episode.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, oh yeah, that was really, really creative. Some creative choices that they made. So All right. Well, we will talk again next week.
Okay.